Hi folks, this is my 2000 Winnebago Adventurer. It's on a Ford F53 chassis, and you can probably guess that I didn't change my brake pads in time, and I ruined that rotor right there. And if you guessed that, you'd be right. And I wanted to show you what I had to go through to take this off. It's not a terrible job. It took me about 3 hours to get where I am right now, which is ready to order the parts. So the first thing I had to do is take off that wheel cover. Probably everybody knows how to do that. And then I had to take off the tires. If you've not done that before, and if they've been on there a long time, that can be a problem. But in my case, I had new tires put on recently, so the wheels came off the hub quite easily. Then the next thing I had to do is I had to take that brake caliper off. I'm going to replace that. That's the part that failed, by the way. And it wore out one pad on one side. And then it wore quickly, and I didn't catch it. And it destroyed this side of the brake rotor. I don't know if you can tell that, but it's trash. This side is smooth as can be right here. So after I took that off, I had to take the bracket off. This bracket right here. And there's the bolts right there. One there and one, let me find it. One right there. And those babies were tight. I had to use my little propane torch here, heat them up. Where's my wrench? I'm not sure. I had to beat on that wrench with this hammer, and even then it was hard to get them off, but they came off with no problem. And then once that bracket was off, I had to pull the axle. And the axle was right here. These bolts came off with my impact wrench. It's just a little cheapy here. And they came off with no problem. And then the axle pulled right out. But you'll need a little pan to sit underneath the axle, because you're going to get a little rear end fluid out when you pull the axle out. And then once the axle was out, I had to take the outer bearing out. This is the outer bearing right here. And you can see what they wanted me to do is put a great big wrench on here. And what I did is I took this chisel right here, and you can see the mark, and I just backed this off until it would come out fairly easy. And then somewhere here I have some pliers, and I was able to turn it off the rest of the way, and then the bearing just popped right out. Once the bearing was out, now this was all in one piece here, so I supported it on one of those blocks and pulled it off. And the inner bearing is still in there. You can't see it very well, but it's in the hub. And it was nice and safe. And then I had to take all these bolts out. They bolt the rotor to this axle housing here. And these came out nicely with my impact wrench. That was no problem. And then I just took a hammer and I hit this and drove it off of here. There's a lip down here, and it's a tight fit, as you would guess. But that came out with no problem. So all in all, it wasn't a terribly hard job. There's lots of room to work in there, so that's not a problem. This thing is heavy, so if you decide to do this, you can see I jacked it up and I have blocks underneath there, so if the jack failed, it wasn't going to come down on me. You got to work underneath there, so you for sure need to make sure this thing is blocked up. And then I blocked a lot of wheels so it wouldn't roll. But all in all, no problem. I'm going to order parts from rockauto.com. I priced it at the garage. I don't even want to tell you what that would cost. I'm guessing about $1,000 for them to do this job, but maybe not. They didn't give me a quote. They just threw out some numbers. So anyway, I hope this helps you. Good luck.